Hi everybody, I'm Xavier from AeroCoach and welcome to the winter. What we're going to do in this video is explain and show how you can make yourself faster for road cycling without having to buy a new bike. This is the bike that I do most of my training on, and what we're going to do is a series of different tests to show how changes in the bike setup as well as the rider will help to speed you up whilst you're riding and make you more aerodynamic. This is my standard training setup. Bibs, jersey, normal road helmet, and what we're going to do is get a baseline CDA, which is your aerodynamic drag, and see how aero I am to start with, and then start making changes to see how we can improve it. Now, as everybody knows, you can hold different positions on a road bike. My baseline position is on the hoods like this, with a relatively relaxed arm position, but obviously you can also hold the tops if you're climbing, or if you're descending, you can go into the drops. We're also going to test a slightly more aggressive hoods position, where I bend my arms slightly further, and we may test a descending position too, to see if you're going downhill really fast, if aerodynamics is going to make more of a difference. So we've just done those positional tests, and it's really important to understand that in terms of the bike and rider system, the rider accounts for a really large proportion of the drag compared to the bike. For me personally, my bike is only accounting for 21% of the overall aerodynamic drag. So changing my position is going to have much more of an impact than changing components on the bike. What we found initially was that my relaxed hoods position gave me a CDA of about 0.35. Now, that's pretty standard for someone of my height. I'm 6 foot tall, or 184 centimeters, and most people will have a CDA on a road bike of between 0.3 and 0.4. Now, when I held the tops, it was a little bit slower. So holding the tops was 4.5 watts slower at 30 kilometers an hour than holding the hoods. When I got into the drops, it was a little bit quicker. So compared with my baseline position in the hoods, getting in the drops was about 10.5 watts faster. However, the breakaway position, where I was holding the hoods with a really bent arm position and bent forwards, that was really fast. And that saved me, at 30 kilometers an hour, 27.5 watts. Now that's an awful lot of time. That's many minutes over a 50 kilometer bike ride, for example, but obviously it's not massively comfortable, so you're not going to be able to hold it all of the time. The other position that we tested, the descending position, was really, really fast. Now, you're not going to be able to pedal that much in that position, but it reduced my CDA by around 43% when I got into the descending position when I was sat on the top tube. And that means that I'm going to go an awful lot faster on descents if I can hold it. Now, one thing you may have noticed was that the jersey that I'm wearing is flapping a little bit around the back of my neck. Now, remember what I said about the rider accounting for the vast majority of the drag? Well, clothing is really important. So what we're going to do is change my jersey into something a little bit more aerodynamic and a little bit more closer fitting, and see how much difference that makes. Now, this is an AeroCoach no-pins trip jersey. We designed this to be more aerodynamic, and it has seams in specific locations to help manipulate the airflow as it goes over the body. It also has some different fabrics, which are more aerodynamic, and what we'll do now is hold my baseline position again and see how much difference just changing the jersey's made. So, my new jersey, which is tighter fitting and more aerodynamic, saved me 5.5 watts over the older one, which was flapping behind my neck. Now that's about halfway between getting to the drops position, which obviously isn't a position I could hold forever, so that's really good. We're going to keep focusing on the rider now, and I'm going to swap this standard road helmet for a much more aerodynamic one. So this is a Casque Pro Tone, and this is a specialized evade. So we're going to give this a go and see how much difference that makes. So with the helmet, as we suspected, this helmet was about 2 watts faster than the previous one. But staying with the rider, now we're going to move on to legs and feet. So we're going to swap to some more aerodynamic socks, and then we're going to have a go at some potentially more aerodynamic shoes as well. So in a similar manner to my jersey, the airflow around the front of your leg is going to need to be treated differently to the airflow around the back of your leg. And so we have 2 different materials here with a seam line in between the 2 to help keep the airflow attached and make you more aerodynamic. The legs are quite a big shape compared with, the down tube of a bike, and you've got 2 of them, and they're in relatively clean airflow either side of the down tube. So ensuring that your legs are aerodynamic is actually quite important. Looking at my socks and shoes was a good improvement. I saved 1.5 watts by changing my socks and 1.2 watts by changing to shoes which don't have any buckles on them. Now, in total, just by looking at my clothing, my helmet, and things like my shoes, that saved 9% of my aerodynamic drag in my normal baseline position. Now, obviously I'll save more if I get into things like the drops position, but 9% is quite a lot. We're now finished with me and my position and clothing, and now let's move on to the bike itself. Everyone loves a wheel upgrade, so we're going to put the new AeroCoach AEOX ZEPHYR wheels on and see how much difference they make compared with my standard training wheels. The AeroCoach wheels have got a couple of different features, including a narrow front hub and a hidden valve, which help make them more aerodynamic, as well as the deeper rim shape. So we'll see how they go. Was fitted with the same tyre, a 25mm Continental GP5000. It also had bladed spokes and only 20 spokes and a radial pattern, making it pretty aerodynamic and much more aerodynamic than a 32-spoke round section wheel. Even so, the pair of AEOX ZEPHYRs was 4.5 watts faster at 30 kilometers an hour, and if you're traveling at greater speeds, so 45 kilometers an hour for example, that increases to 16 watts for a pair of wheels. We explain elsewhere how important tyres are, and you can check out on our website a lot of information about the fastest rolling resistance tyres, and it's really crucial to choose a really good rolling resistance tyre along with a wheel upgrade that you might make. The next thing we're going to do is having a look at water bottles. I don't want to ride without having water on my bike at all, so we're going to see what happens if we change a round bottle to an Aero bottle with the same capacity and see how much difference that makes. The Aero bottle saved half a watt at 30 kilometers an hour, so I might as well use it. And in total, we've dropped my aerodynamic drag by 13%. 9% of that came from my clothing, socks and shoes and helmet, and then the other 4% came from changing the wheels and also putting the Aero bottle on. That 13% represents a saving of nearly 16 watts at 30 kilometers an hour. And if you go at higher speeds, such as 45 kilometers an hour, that's over 50 watts that you're saving traveling at the same speed. So to put that into perspective, if you were to do a 50-kilometer ride, then you'd travel around 4 minutes quicker with this setup compared with the setup that we had earlier. We hope you've enjoyed this video about how to make yourself faster without having to buy a brand new bike. I've certainly got a bit quicker out of it too, and if you need more information then please head to our website where we've got lots more aero testing data, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.